It is Wednesday morning and I am on one of my rare weekdays off from work because I'm working this weekend, and I'm absolutely loving waking up in the sunshine and having such a beautiful golden light in my room. It's absolutely stunning. So I thought I just had to film an introduction even though I haven't really got anything to say just yet. So as I said, it's Wednesday and I have so far read nothing this week, which is not a problem because I had a very successful week last week with Polathon. I read 5 books, which is the most I've read in quite some time. So having a day off also is not a problem at all. I wasn't technically having a day off from reading in that I did flick through, as you'll have seen in the previous footage, the most beautiful book in the world, which is Mythopedia. And it just follows lots of different myths and folklore from various places across the world with just the most stunning illustrations I think I've ever seen. I feel like I'm having a theme at the moment of beautifully illustrated books, with also reading East of the Sun, West of the Moon last week, which again was truly stunning. So I'm really enjoying the visual aspect of reading at the moment as much as the stories. But I didn't read the whole book of Mythopedia, I just fancied flicking through it really. So little bit of reading content, but not something I'm going to count as a book. But today I would like to pick up a new story, and of course, having a day off, what better time? So I think I'm going to go for Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sulin Tan. I've heard a lot of people talk about this. I know it's a fairly recent release and I've heard mixed reviews, but generally good things about this story. So I think I found it as an audiobook on Scribd, so I think I'm going to listen to the first couple of chapters this morning while I'm having my first coffee of the day and enjoying this beautiful sunshine. And then if I really enjoy it, I will go out and try and find a copy of it in my library, or potentially even just get hold of one physically from a bookshop. I don't know. Though I think it's only out in hardback so far, so I wouldn't normally have gone straight in and bought it. But the library is probably a good shout. And it means I get to show you some book footage too, so that will be very fun. I also am planning to play tennis later, although despite the sun at the moment, we're actually supposed to have a storm later, so I may not actually make it outdoors after all, but we will see. I would also, with that in mind, like to fit in a walk this morning and enjoy a little bit of the outdoors in the beautiful sunshine before it gets drenched in rain and everything turns to mud again. So you might get some nature footage too today. Who knows what the day will bring, but as I said, a nice relaxed start to the day, and I will start listening to the audiobook of Daughter of the Moon Goddess and see if I think it's going to be something that I will enjoy. Hello, so it is ridiculously windy this evening. It's Storm Eunice, I think? I lose track, they all have very strange names. Storm whatever she is. And I'm out for a walk. It is actually light enough after a day at work. Oh gosh, I say light enough, the lighting is odd, but just about light enough after a day at work for me to come out for a walk, which I'm very, very happy about. So I've come out for however long it will be, probably not too long because it is getting dark, as you can tell, but for a short while at least, and I wanted to listen to a little bit more of my audiobook, if I can hear it over the wind, because I'm listening to the Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which I'm really, really enjoying so far. I've read most of this physically now since getting the book from the library the other day, and I'm now on to part 2, so that's slightly better. A little bit sheltered, though I am right next to a road, but never mind. So I wanted to come out and read a little bit more of my audiobook of Daughter of the Moon Goddess. As I said, I'm now nearly halfway through. I'm partway through part 2 and I am thoroughly enjoying this book so far. It's really, really good fun. It's been a while since I've been kind of drawn into a new world and a new type of fantasy. And this is definitely that for me, so I'm thoroughly enjoying what I'm reading. So I look forward to heading home and reading a little bit more because it's really quite blustery and it's getting dark now. And I can't really hear what I'm listening to, but I'm very happy to have had a little blow of fresh air at the very least at the end of a long working day. And hopefully this is the start of many more evening walks to come. So I will see you again later once I'm back home and hopefully have another reading update for you. Hello. So it is now Friday evening, it is very late and I am very tired and have to go to work tomorrow morning quite early, so I'm going to keep this update very, very short, but I couldn't not check in and let you know that I finished reading Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sulin Town. I loved this book. I want to keep this book. I don't want to send this back to the library. I want it to be mine because this was just the most beautiful story. It was absolutely captivating. I ate up every single description in this, every word, every character. I love this story. It was really, really beautiful. I was toying all the way through with, is it going to be a 4-star? Will it maybe get a 5-star? I'm giving this 5 stars. This was a beautiful story. I cannot wait to reread it already, and I've only just finished it. So I loved the whole feeling of the book as I talked about all the way through. I loved the folklore-inspired aspects of this. I loved the writing style. It was just everything I was hoping it would be and more. Our main character was a very captivating narrator. I liked the way that she retold the experiences she was having, her interactions with other characters. It was just a really, really gripping book and exactly what I needed to get myself back into reading without having obviously the prompts of a readathon like I managed with Polathon last week. This was just the sort of book that I needed, and I've read the entire thing in 2.5 days, which shows just how much I've loved it because it's not a small book. So I definitely will be getting my hands on a copy of this as soon as the paperback is out, and I will be adding that to my shelves and hopefully rereading it sometime soon. But as I said, quick update, I'm very tired, but I didn't want this book to end and I almost want to just jump straight back into it already. I won't be reading anything this weekend probably because I am at work, as I said, both days of this weekend. So if I have any more time, I will try and carry on with a bit more of Mythopedia, which I was reading at the start of the week, but that's basically just, you know, myths and legends and very short clips of stories with lots of beautiful illustrations, so it's not too taxing, and I'm sure I can probably get through that. But otherwise, this will be my main book of the week, but I'm not mad about just reading one book in the week because it was beautiful and I've loved it, and it's just definitely a positive step forwards in my reading experience. So I'm very, very glad that I picked up this. I'm always worried when I read something that is very overhyped and is a new release, but this definitely lived up to expectations, and 5 out of 5 stars for this one. I will say goodnight to you now and hopefully catch up with you again soon, maybe at the end of the weekend, and let you know if I have managed to pick anything else up. But otherwise, I think I'm going to roll this vlog on into next week as well because I'm a little bit behind with scheduling. So if I can do a 2-week vlog at the end of February, then I will be able to catch up and be on time again with posting vlogs. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Also going to put this down because it's quite heavy. So I will speak to you again very soon and let you know what's going on with my reading and my future plans. Hello, it is Thursday afternoon. I think it's Thursday. I'm so losing track of the days this week. It's ridiculous because of my day off being midweek and then having worked last weekend. I am just completely off with what day it is, but I'm pretty sure it's Thursday. And I have come actually to do a spot of shopping after work. I have a few errands to run, a few things to pick up, and I just really was in the mood to find a coffee shop and sit and read a book there out and about in the world for a change. So I think I'm probably going to do that either before or after I've done my shopping. I probably won't be out all evening, but I just wanted to have a little bit of a trip out and do something semi-normal again because once again recently I've slipped into the habit of not really having much of a life. I go to tennis and I go to work and that's about it. So going out and doing relatively normal things is something that I need to reacquaint myself with, and as I say, reading in coffee shops is something I haven't done for a while but was always one of my favourite things to do. So I have brought with me, let me show you, a book which I'm about to start and I'm very, very excited about. I have Tales of the Greatcoats by Sebastian de Castell. I had this, I ordered this about a month ago now, so I've had it for a little while, but haven't yet got a chance to pick it up. But I'm really, really excited to get to this. And as you can see, it's not too long. I think it's about 280 pages. Yeah, 284 pages, so shouldn't take me too long. And it's actually short stories as well. It's a collection of, let me find the list, I think it's 8 short stories here that you can see, and then some notes at the end on each of them as well from Sebastian himself. I really, really love Sebastian de Castell's writing. I adored the Greatcoats series, which this is like a follow-on short story collection from. I also really, really enjoyed his Spellslinger series, which I've recently finished as well. So I'm very, very excited to jump back into this world. The Greatcoats series is one of my absolute favourite fantasy series of all time. I think they're so well written. I absolutely adored the characters. And I don't remember all the details of the stories, but I'm fairly sure I remember enough to be able to get back into this world without needing too much prompting. I think it's been about 2 years since I read the series, so enough of it should hopefully still be in there if my brain is not completely fried from work all the time. So I'm going to go and run my errands and then buy a coffee and sit down with this, hopefully in a nice cozy quiet corner somewhere, and I will let you know how I get on and which stories I've read a little later on. Forgive the slightly strange angle. I'm trying to make the most of both a lamp and some remnants of natural light, whilst also having a very slightly different background to normal, because I feel like I'm getting sick of looking at the same different arrangements of my bookshelves. But there we are, the limitations of filming in one room. Anyway, so I'm updating you mainly to say that I have finished reading Tales of the Greatcoats by Sebastian de Castell, which I thoroughly enjoyed. 5 out of 5 stars. I am so happy to be back in this world. I absolutely love the Greatcoats, and these stories were all very, very well written, as I've come to expect from Sebastian de Castell, all of which having a little bit of nostalgia in them, as well as brand new stories and excitement and things to get involved with as well. I was intrigued to see how he would manage writing short stories, because normally the prose that we get in the stories that Sebastian de Castell creates are very fleshed out. They're very like intricate plots and lots of layers of events happening, which all influence what's going to be the ultimate conclusion of the story, whereas these are just little snapshots basically in time. But it absolutely worked. It really, really did work with his writing style, and I loved seeing lots of different characters in this, as well as reminiscing with some of our favourites from the original series. Though there was no Brasty. I wish Brasty had been in this, but I think the story that Kest was in was actually one of my favourites, The Wheelwright's Duel, where he appears as kind of an advisor to this very unlikely duelist, and helps perhaps change the course of events throughout the fight. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful little story. There's a lot of dueling going on in this, and I do particularly like the way that Sebastian de Castell describes fight scenes, so I was very happy to read that. I did partly listen to the audiobook of this as well, once again by the wonderful Jo Jameson, whose voice is just my absolute favourite to listen to, and who does the accents of these characters so well. So it just felt like revisiting old friends, but also making new ones. I have absolutely fallen in love with the character of Estevar Boros. I really hope we get more from him in the future. I would happily read a novel or a series about him on his own, because he's wonderful. There's, in the prologue, it references that he's got influences of Hercule Poirot in, and I absolutely see that. And the Poirot stories are some of my absolute favourites. I'm a big Agatha Christie fan, so that was very much welcome to me. So all in all, a wonderful book. I really enjoyed this. I'm so happy that I have a copy of it, and I feel like I now just want to reread The Greycoats, which is a bit of a problem, but because it doesn't fit with any of my TBRs or anything that I need to do. I absolutely don't need to go and restart a series, but I've just missed this world so much, and it's been a couple of years, so I think I'm probably due a reread at some point. So maybe sometime in the next few weeks I will jump back into the series. But 5 out of 5 stars for Tales of the Greycoats, and I'm very glad that I finally got to read this. Also, slight side note, and as I said, this is an odd angle, but I kind of wanted to show off my new plants as well. So I've been wanting some greenery in my room for a little while, so I've treated myself both to this beautiful ivy and also to a mini monstera, which I love. I think plants are just so pretty, and just adding a little bit of greenery and a bit of nature into my room is something that I'd wanted to do for a while, so I'm very happy to now have these. They are fake, by the way, if you couldn't tell. They're a little bit too pristine, but that doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I wanted fake plants because as much as I love having real nature in my house, I don't want the insects to come along with it, so fake plants was the way to go. But they're just so cute, aren't they? And I think I'm going to hopefully use these in the background of some of my videos, or I don't know, they just add a bit of colour and a bit of greenery to my room. So they're going to live on my windowsill at the moment, but probably will get moved around for all sorts of backgrounds. But anyway, just thought I would share that. So, plant ramble over. I'm now going to try and find something else to read next and try and get myself out of the inevitable slump that is going to be caused by reading this book, because I just want to reread it again already. So we'll see. The problems. So I will chat to you again soon when I've decided what next to read. Hello, so I have come out on Saturday afternoon for a little walk through the woodland. It's absolutely lovely afternoon. The sun is out, as you can see behind me. Absolutely gorgeous afternoon, and it's actually not that cold either, so despite my big coat I really don't need this. I'm very warm. But I've been listening to some of the audiobook actually of Uprooted, which I started this morning and read a couple of chapters of before going out to my tennis match, and now I am out here listening to the audiobook, and it's just the most perfect thing because walking through a woodland and there is a magical wood in the story. I'm thoroughly loving this book so far. It's everything I would hope it to be. It's folklore inspired, it's got a beautiful type of magic, you've got a mysterious, possibly villainous, possibly not character, you've just got this wonderful feeling to the story and the way that it's written. I'm thoroughly loving this story. I enjoyed Spinning Silver by the same author, and I think this one actually is perhaps slightly better than that one. It's got the same feel to it, but I think this one is a little bit more my vibe of story, but I really like both of them, so I'm really glad I picked this up. It's a beautiful story, and I think I'm going to try and read the whole book this weekend because it's one of those I know I'm going to just want to devour in a couple of sittings. It's a beautiful story. So I will get back to enjoying some more scenery, and I will give you an update on the story when I've read a little bit more. It's absolutely lovely out here with the bird song and just the stillness and the peace and just nobody about. It's absolutely lovely. I love being out in nature, and especially on beautiful afternoons like this, and just that escape from people. So again, this morning, having a very busy morning with a tennis match with lots of people, lots of noise. It was a very busy indoor centre where we had the match, so a little different than my normal vibes for tennis, and I just needed this escape. I needed to get out into nature and just lose myself in a story, and I feel like it definitely puts me in the right frame of mind to immerse myself fully in a story and not just take it on board as words on a page. I could almost be in the world that they're describing, and it's just wonderful. So especially with fantasy books, I love to read them out in the open. So come along with me on this beautiful walk and listen to the birds and enjoy the afternoon sun, and I will enjoy my story. Hello, it is Sunday morning. It is the most beautiful sunny day. It actually feels like summer today. I mean, it's not exactly warm, but it's so beautifully sunny. There is a clear blue sky, not a cloud in sight, and I'm so happy this morning. It's amazing what a difference the sun can actually make to your mood. I had a lovely walk yesterday afternoon in the sunshine, and today I think is going to be even more beautiful. So we'll definitely try and go out for another walk again. I'm just visiting my grandma this morning, doing a bit of family stuff, and then hopefully we'll have the whole afternoon free to, as I say, go for a walk. And I want to carry on listening to the audiobook of Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I'm getting on really well with this. I started it yesterday morning and I'm already 45% through apparently, according to Goodreads. So I'm on page 215, I think. So I've got just over 200 pages left. I'm pretty much nearly halfway. And I'm really excited to get back into this book. All I want to do today is sit and read, because it's such a beautiful day. I want to just sit in the garden and read it, or go for a walk and listen to it. It's a wonderful book. It's really exciting as well. I'm kind of intrigued where the story's going, because I feel like some of the main things, or some of the events that have happened, could well have been the main plot points of the book. And yet they've already happened and we're not even halfway yet. So I'm not quite sure what else is going to happen in this book, where else the characters will develop to, or the plot will go. But I'm really excited to find out. And I can already tell this book is going to be at least a high 4-star, if not 5. It's wonderful. It's one of my favourite books I've read this year so far. So this vlog actually is going to be full of very successful books, because Daughter of the Moon Goddess that I read last week was really good, and I rated a high 4 stars as well. And Mythopedia, which I have only basically just flicked through and looked at illustrations, but if I were to rate that would also probably be a 5-star, because I think it's one of the prettiest books I have ever read. So we're having a very good reading couple of weeks, and I'm really excited about it. I still am in the back of my mind thinking about how dreadful January was, and hoping that this is now back to normal and we'll keep going forwards, and that January was a blip. But of course you always worry, don't you, that the reading slump will be back at any moment. But I think we might well have kicked it off now with all of these beautiful books that I've been reading recently. So enough rambling. I will check in with you again later, probably show you some footage of my walk and let you know my thoughts with some more of Uprooted. I think I have a high chance of actually finishing this book today, so we will see, but fingers crossed I can actually let you know my conclusion to the story and confirm whether it is indeed a high 4-star or a 5-star. Who knows? We will see. I will chat to you later. So, it is now Monday morning, the 28th, the last and final day of February, but I just wanted to check in before work, just to let you know that I did, as planned, read the last bit of Uprooted last night. I finished off the book and I absolutely loved it. It was everything I hoped it would be, this book, and more. It was not exactly what I expected it to be, but it had all of the elements of the story and the way the story was told that I was hoping for, and I thoroughly enjoyed the process of reading this. I had a mixture of physical reading and also audiobook listening for this book, both of which I would recommend. I liked having the mixture, actually, to be able to read certain sections physically but then actually carry on listening to the story while I was out and about as well. I did lots of walking over the weekend in lots of forested settings, so it was very, very appropriate for what I was listening to, considering that the majority of this book was set in and around a rural setting with a kind of magic evil forest. So all very appropriate, and I just loved the atmosphere in this book. I think that was the strongest part of it. Usually my favourite thing in a story is strong characters. This did have decent characters, but I think definitely the strength of this book was the atmosphere, it was the setting, it was the kind of folkloric feel to it, which I absolutely love reading about, and it was just such a beautifully written book. I have to say, I think the plot for me was stronger in the earlier part of the book. Well, stronger is the wrong word. I think more enjoyable for me personally in the earlier part of the book, because I really liked the setting of the tower, and I liked our main character Agnieszka learning about her magic and that kind of development process, which I feel like earlier than I expected got shut off, in that she suddenly found she could use her magic to great effect and then suddenly didn't seem to be learning anymore. It was just kind of coming naturally, and I felt like that whole process was a little bit shorter than I think it probably should have been, or it would have felt more natural to be more drawn out. So the balance of the plot was not quite what I would have probably done. Not that I can write stories, but you know. But otherwise, I thought it was a really, really well-constructed story. I think the action part in the second half was actually quite gritty and quite violent, and it was definitely not what I expected this book to be like, but I'm glad that it was, because it made the threat and the danger in the book a lot more real and a lot more tangibly scary, because you could see just what horrible consequences it could actually have. And I did love the characters, as I said too. I did really enjoy the dragon as a character. I thought he was wonderful. He was very well constructed. I like that kind of dark, brooding, man of few words type thing who's actually really sweet underneath it all. It's one of my favourite kind of tropes of male characters, and I really enjoyed that side of things. And the strong female characters as part of this as well was very good. So I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I am going to give it 5 out of 5 stars purely because of the enjoyment factor of it. As I've said, it's not perfect. In my eyes, there are little bits that I perhaps would have tweaked, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and that to me is all that matters. So 5 out of 5 stars for Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I don't now know what I'm going to read that's going to live up to that, because I've had some really good books recently, and that was a particularly strong one, and I think it was fortunate that it was exactly the kind of book I wanted for this moment. It was one of those very fortuitous times that you pick up exactly the right book and you devour it, and it was just perfect. So hopefully that can happen again, but I don't know. I think the next couple of days I probably won't be doing much vlogging because I'm very, very busy at work, but I do then have a week off work, so I'll probably do a slightly extended vlog, including the end of this week, like next week, but this week, you know what I mean, the weekend, and then into the following week when I'm off work. I also need to get my hair cut because this fringe is ridiculous. It's just poking me in the eyes all the time and it's annoying, so you don't need a haircut update, but I will definitely be getting one before you see me again. So without further ado, I'm going to wrap up this vlog here. I need to get off to work, so thank you very much for watching as always. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave me a like down below if you did. Chat to me in the comments about any of the books I've read, anything else you'd like to discuss with me. I always love to hear from you. And please consider subscribing if you'd like to see more content from me. It really means a lot. Thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next video. So goodbye for now.